Hi everybody on YouTube. It's been a while since I've put out a video, I know, but I wanted to show you what I've been working on. I've got a new woodworking shop. I'm going to go inside and I'll give you a small tour. It's not really done yet, but here we go. I've got a nice little room here. It's about 16 feet by 16 feet. As you can see, it's got shelving, floor to ceiling shelving, and 1, 2, 3 walls. Pretty nice, huh? Still working on cleaning it up and getting it ready, but I've got a few of my tools moved in here. I got my miter saw set up over there, and a drill press that doesn't work I found recently, so I'm gonna have to get rid of that and get a new one. But got a fire extinguisher. I got my dad's old bench vise here. This thing's probably 50, 60 years old. And then I've got a little bench grinder I picked up at a thrift store for about 20 bucks. But yeah, it's going to be a nice little shop. Now the main problem I've had with the shop is it's pretty cold out here. If you can see the thermometer. This is actually pretty warm in here today because it's about 50 degrees outside. Usually it's between 20 and 30 degrees out here when I first get out to the shop. So we're going to do something about that. I have this little oil-filled heater here that I've been using temporarily, but it mostly just heats up the air here around it. It will raise the temperature maybe 5 degrees in here, maybe 10 if I let it run all day, which is not that great. I had a little electric space heater that didn't do much better. So to get some better heat in here so I can work out here in the winter, I've been working on this. Some of you may recognize this. That's these little diesel heaters from China that have been all over YouTube lately. And I didn't go through setting it up and all that because there's plenty of videos to show that online already. But here's how I did mine. I made sure I mounted it here on this metal bracket. I put a wooden frame up here on the wall and then mounted it to that so that there's no part of this thing that's actually touching wood or the wall at all. It's all mounted on the metal. The upper part doesn't really get too hot except for these exhaust pipes. This is where the heat comes out here and here. Underneath here you can see there is this metal exhaust pipe which is running out through a hole in the wall, and I have a steel plate there to keep the heat away from the actual wood itself. This is a little 1/2-inch plywood it's going through. But today I haven't hooked it up and run it yet because I've run into some problems trying to figure out how to power it. It runs off 12 volts, so you can either use a car battery or what I'm going to use here today, I'm going to use this PC power supply and see if I can get that working. I have a couple of car batteries over here, but I found out neither one of them really holds a charge anymore. They're pretty old, so I'll get rid of those. I may eventually switch to that. We'll see how this power supply goes. The only problem with this is you run this off your AC, and supposedly if the power goes out, then the unit may not shut down properly, and it could cause problems. But I don't expect to be out here when there's going to be power outages anyway. We usually get them here only when the weather's bad, and I'm not going to be out in the shop when the weather's too bad. So we'll give this a try. I'm going to have to make some modifications to this power supply because this is a modern one. As you can see, it's got all these cables and whatever. But it does not have a power switch on it. They have a switch on the back, but as some of you may know, this switch does not turn the power supply on. It just makes it available to have power. And the motherboard of your computer is what usually turns this on. But we're not hooking this to a motherboard, so what we're going to do instead is we're going to jumper this cable here to make this thing think we have a motherboard and that it's turned on. So I'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to need is I'm going to have to jumper this connector so this thing is always on whenever I turn on the switch on the back. And to do that I'm going to need a piece of wire. So I've got here a piece of Romex that I had left over from hooking up the lights up there. So I think I'll use some of the wire out of this. I've turned on my little oil heater here. I have it next to me. At least it'll keep me warm while I'm sitting next to it a little bit so I can work. piece of this off the end here. A little cutter. Alright, here's the wire. I don't need a very long piece. I'm just going to cut off a piece of this here. This one piece. Get the other side. I really need better cutters. If anyone would like to contribute to me having better tools, feel free to send me a donation. Should I have a Patreon page? I don't know. Okay, so we've got this. Let's see if I can. All right. There we go. Alright. Now we've got some wire here. We only need one piece of wire, and preferably we want one with some plastic on, so the white one or the black one. We don't want to use something like this. We don't want to use a bare wire for this. Okay, so I guess I'll use the white wire. I do have a wire stripper. That's one tool I do have. I just need to strip a little bit off the end of this. Okay. Okay. There we go. See how that comes right off like that? The other end, strip a little bit off of here, hopefully. There we go. So what we have now is a little length of wire with the two ends stripped. And what we do is on this power supply here, this is the plug that will plug into your motherboard. This is a 24-pin plug. And what we're looking for on this, on the side with the clip, which is this side, see, there are actually colored wires on this. So if you have colored wires, you're looking for the green wire, which is this one right here. And that attaches to the fourth connector on this clip side, right there. Here's the clip, and we'll plug into the fourth hole on the clip side, which is that one, number 16, the green wire. So I'm going to plug into there. Alright, now, that is our green wire, as you can see, we're plugged into. If you can't see it. Here's the green one. Now, as you see on either side of the green one, there's a black one. All the black ones are ground. So we can plug into any of these black ones to ground this. So I'm going to bend this around. And we're going to plug into the one probably 2 over. Right there. Actually, we can even go 3 over. It might fit better. Get in there with these pliers. There we go. Okay. Okay, so what we have now is we have this green wire. This one's hooked into the green wire, and this one's hooked into a black wire. Any of the black wires will work. Those are ground. So now the green wire, so this is the one that tells it, hey, there's power on the motherboard. And by grounding it out, we're just telling it it's on all the time. So hopefully this will work. We're going to test it out. Alright, so we have this turned off at the moment. I'm going to plug it in. And I have a power cord now. We're going to plug this into. And I also have a voltmeter so we can test. Because what we need to do, we need 12 volts coming out of this thing. And I'm going to use one of these Molex plugs here. These are the ones that have the little 4 pins on them. The 2 inside pins are ground. One of the outside one is 12 and one is 5. And since these cables are all black, I don't know which one's the yellow or the red, so we're going to use my meter to tell which one of these is 12 volt and which one is 5. Alright, I've got my cord plugged into I've got a 30-foot extension cord over there it's plugged into. I noticed it was kind of dark here, so I tried to add a little more light. I've got my little shop light over there shining here. Hopefully that will give us some sort of extra light. Anyway, I've got the switch turned off right now, because this is going to be the switch that will turn it on and off, now that we've jumpered it over there. So I'm going to plug it in. Okay, we're just going to plug this in. Alright, now I'm going to grab a Molex cable. I don't know, doesn't matter which one we use. We'll use this one, I guess. Okay. I got this turned on to DC voltage. Okay, I'm going to take the Molex and I'm going to plug the ground into one of the middle ones because the two in the middle are ground. Alright, I'm going to switch this on. Alright, and you can hear the fan is running, so that means our bypass worked. So now let's see if we can figure out which one of these is 12 and which is 5. Alright, this one, that one looks like 5 volts. Let's see if we get 12 out of the other side here. Okay. And okay, there's our 12 volt side, this side. So I'm going to have to mark that somehow. Turn this off. Take this one off first. This is going to be our 12 volt supply here. I'm just going to cut this right off. Alright. Now we'll wrap a piece of tape around this one so I know that this is the 12 volt side. That one's 12. Okay. We're going to use this other one as our ground. Get that off. Right, and these are the only 2 wires we're going to need. So I'm not going to use the rest of this connector. So I'll just tape this back here. Keep it out of the way so it doesn't get in the way later. Okay, and these are the 2 wires we're going to use, our plus and our minus, to hook up to our diesel heater. Alright, so let's go over to the diesel heater. Okay, we're back, and here's what I did. I took the plus here and hooked it to the plus wire, which has its own fuse on it here. I hooked the minus up to the minus wire, twisted them together, taped them with tape, so that's not connected. We have power now to this unit. Okay, so now I gotta plug this in, plug that in, but we're not going to turn it on yet because now we need to get some diesel. We'll bring in the diesel and we'll put some, I bought 1 gallon just for trying this thing out. Alright, looks like we have red diesel, which is off-road I think. Anyway, this is a 10-liter tank, which is about 2.8 gallons. So I put roughly 1 gallon in there, so it should be about a third of the way full, which it looks like it is. Alright, now the next step is we have to turn on the power, and I have the controller mounted over here. It's mounted sideways because I couldn't really fit it the right way on here. I may move it somewhere later, but we'll have to use this to prime the pump. Hopefully I can figure out which button to do it, because the manual that comes with these things is absolutely worthless and atrocious. If you buy this unit, you'll get the manual for the other all-in-one unit, and if you buy the all-in-one unit, you'll get the manual for this unit. So the diagrams are so blurry you can't read them, so the manuals are pretty much worthless. I only learned how to set this up watching YouTube. So we'll try to figure out how this thing works, hopefully, because we're going to have to, before we run this thing, we have to get fuel through this line, all the way through the pump, all the way up to where it goes into the unit. Alright, so first we'll turn this on. Alright, we have a fan. Let me see if we have, okay, the controller is on. As you can see, it's sideways. We can remove this from this thing here, this holder. Okay, I think we use the 2 arrows is what I saw in the one video. Let me see if that does anything. Okay, that's the fuel pump. So we got to piss both arrows, and the fuel pump should be pumping fuel through this tube now. But I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Okay, there it is. The fuel has gotten to there, so we'll have to keep pumping for a while. Oh my god, this is going to take forever. Okay, progress. We did get the fuel past the fuel filter. However, I found a leak. So I just I undid the clamp, pushed more of the hose up there and redid the clamp. And hopefully that's got it. I don't know. I want the bubbles to rise out of here a little bit. Alright, I'll try and start this thing up. I think, oh, okay, it says 13 degrees C. It's in C, I guess, so we've got 40, 43, 44 degrees in here right now. Okay, here we go. It's on 3 now. That's medium. Okay, it's got the glow plug is glowing. It's heating up. The fan is on. It's gonna warm up the glow plug first. Okay, the pump is started. The pump is started. I hear heat ramping up in it. It's got some air coming out, but it's still cool right now. Let's see here. We got a little thermometer here. The exhaust pipe, oh, I can't see it. The exhaust pipe is currently at 72 degrees, so it's not really doing much yet. We got 56 degrees coming up of the exhaust here, 57. This will start heating up soon. Okay, we've still got a leak down here at the tank. I'll have to work on that. It's not a real big leak though, it's just a little bit drop here. Alright, I'm going to back up a little bit so when this thing cranks up, I might get burnt to death. Alright, fuel pumps. Open up. And we're going to have to do something about that. Alright, we've got 65, 63 coming out of here so far. Exhaust pipe is up to 100 and, oh, it's all over the place here. About 135 degrees. Those make quite a bit of noise, but it's not that bad. I mean, if I'm over there on the other side of the room working, I probably wouldn't even care about it. And once we turn it down, it will put out a lot less noise. Now, a lot of people will crank this all the way up to get it started to get heat in here, but I don't want to crank mine that high, especially since it's leaking here a little bit. Fuel pump is speeded up. It's really pumping now. Wish it pumped that fast when I was priming it. Okay, we've got 84 coming out of the vent now. We've got 200, 230 on the exhaust pipe. I want to keep an eye on that because, like I said, I've got a 1/2-inch plywood here. This used to be a window. It's a boarded up window. So I got a 1/2 inch of plywood there. And I got this 1/8 inch steel plate that I put, I've got a 2.5-inch hole in there. And the steel plate is covering up most of it. Okay, I can feel heat coming out of here now. This is kind of warm coming out of here now. This is 102 degrees coming out of there. We've got 260 on the exhaust pipe. I've got 120 coming out of the upper vent. I've got 140 coming out of the bottom vent. And I've got exhaust pipes at about 300, about 280. That's not too bad. Alright, but it is pumping out quite a bit of heat. It's slowing down a little bit now. I'm going to let this run for a while and see what happens. Meanwhile, let's go outside and check the outside exhaust and the wood and make sure that's going okay. Alright, you can hear it running out here from a ways away. There it is. Let's see. Can you see it? There it is. I don't see any exhaust fumes coming out of it. And you can see, like I said, the hole where the pipe's coming through is about 2.5 inches across, and the metal plate has a hole about an inch, like an inch and a half, something like that, for the pipe to come through. So there's quite a bit of distance between the pipe and the wood. It doesn't look like it's heating up much. It's the muffler supposed to make it quieter. I don't know if it does or not. But and it's been running now for about 15 minutes. And I have to say, it does feel warmer in here. I'm over here at the far side of the room. And it does feel a lot warmer than it was when I first came in here this morning. So I think this is actually going to work pretty well. I'll let that run for a while. Okay, I know some of you were probably worried about safety, so I just plugged in my carbon monoxide detector there. Just for the heck of it for now. I'll put down another piece of paper towel. You can see that it is, in fact, still leaking there. I'm going to let the week finish this test. Turn that off. Okay, it's been running now for, what, like 20 minutes, I think? Close to 20 minutes. The temperature on the thermometer is finally moving. And it's gone up to 49. I think I'll be able to run this for maybe an hour or so at a time and just heat up the shop a little bit to work, and it will be good. You can see it is kind of loud, but like I said, it's no louder than any of the tools I'd be using in here. And I do have hearing protection I can put on. It doesn't really, it's kind of like a vacuum cleaner. It's a really quiet vacuum cleaner, like maybe half the volume of a normal vacuum cleaner. But it's really not bad at all. More like a noisy computer, maybe. This building's not completely insulated either. I mean, the floor, it's got a wooden floor that's not insulated. I've got some foam board on that wall over there, which you see holes in it. And there's foam board on the ceiling. But as far as I know, the other 3 walls here, other than some foam board around the wall, the door there, where the shelves are, is not insulated. So the floor and 3 of the walls are not insulated. So, but for my purposes working in here, if I can get it to at least 50 or 60 degrees, that's all I really need in here. Once it gets to 50, it's comfortable enough in here to work. And I plan on doing some more installation work. A lot of work I'm going to do on the building here in the next year or so. There's some foundation issues that need to be prepared, probably in the spring. And I'm going to do something. There's another room on the other side of this wall that I can use. It's about, I think it's about 12 by 16, which is a good sized room. There's a garage door, so I can load materials and stuff in there. There's a bunch of junk stored in there right now, but I'm going to clean that room out. And I will probably, I might take the foam board down off this wall, because right in here there's nothing in there but bare studs. So you can't use no light to see in there, but there's a stud back there. So if I take the foam board down, I got a stud wall. I could put some, I don't want to put drywall up because I want to be able to hang things on the wall, so I'll probably put some kind of wood up here, maybe some plywood on the wall, and then I could put some actual insulation inside the studs, and maybe put a wall on the other side as well. And I can use that foam board somewhere else. What I was thinking I might do is I was originally thinking I might put foam board in here and these inside the shelf cavities there to sort of insulate the wall, but I might actually go with that. There's some bubble insulation you can put in there, and it's kind of like bubble wrap, and I can put that everywhere in here. It's thin, but it is insulated. It's about this thick, I guess, maybe a quarter inch or a little less. It's got 2 layers of bubbles, and we'll get into that later, but I could put that up on all the shelf walls and everywhere that I don't have foam board at the moment. And in under the floor actually too, so that would help a lot. But for right now, this is good. I've got this heater pumping out heat. This is the 5 kilowatt unit, I believe. So it puts out quite a bit of heat. I can't even stand this close to it because I'm already breaking into a sweat just standing here. Even though the thermometer says it's only 50 or 51, but I don't think the thermometer is all that accurate. I just have a folding table here right now to use as a workbench. I'll eventually probably build some sort of workbench in here. I've got a little stand over there. I have a computer where I have all my woodworking videos and plans and things, so I can look at plans and stuff while I'm working out here. And then I've got a lot of old antique tools that were left here by my dad, who passed away. So I've got a lot of his old tools here. I need to go through all his stuff, see what's good that I can keep and what I need to get rid of. Some of the tools I can restore, some are just no good. But yeah, this will be a nice little shop to build some things in the future, and hopefully I'll have some videos on that. We're back. This is test number 2. This is, I don't know, this is several hours later. I ended up having to take this tank on and off the wall several times to try and track down the leak and fix it. So I built this wooden bracket, which will hold the tank there even if with no screws in it, so I can test. I've got one screw in it now with a bigger washer, and I replaced the screw because the screws that came with it were pretty weak. So I've got a good firm screw right into the wall in this bracket where it isn't going to go anywhere. I'll put just a little bit of diesel back in it for testing to make sure nothing leaks. So far nothing's leaking. It turned out to be the little valve that you have to put in the bottom of the tank. I guess I didn't have it tight enough, so the rubber seals weren't sealing completely. So I tightened that up. I tightened up the other thing, the clamp, and it looks like so far so good, no leaks. We got this running at level 5 now. The temperature did drop. I shut it down for a little while, and while it was off, you can see up there the temperature was at around 51, and it dropped to 47. The temperature on the controller was 16 when I shut it off. It had dropped down to 13. Now it's going back up again, between 14 and 15 it looks like. So, and that's Celsius though. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like it might be working now. And no leaks. No leaks is a good thing. So for now, this is good. This will give me all the heat I need out in the shop to start working on stuff. And maybe I'll bring you guys along for some of the things I'm going to build. Just got a simple bracket there. I just had a scrap 2x4 left over. I just cut it to pieces and screwed it into the wall. It is not attached to the tank at all. The tank just sits on it like a little shelf bracket. It's just got the one screw holding it in right now. But that's more solid than it was before with the 3 screws that came with it. So and the bracket is good and I'll hold it up there. If I ever need to take it apart again, I just need to take out the one screw and the bracket will hold it there. It'll slide right out of the bracket if I need to move it around. But it's a lot easier than trying to take those 3 screws out and hold it up off the floor while you what a mess that was. So that's much better. Alright, looks like it's working good now. Still no leaks. I think we're good. I think I've solved our leakage problem. And this should be good to go. Thanks for joining me and watching. And I hope to see you again soon.